There's nothing wrong with restricting people's choices in the aim of having a balanced game. In second edition 40k, and I keep going back to second edition, but it's probably still my favourite overall. It took a long time to play. It was a very different game. You could never play it with the amount of mods you have these days, but it was a brilliant game.
Yeah.
At least 50% of your army had to be troops.
Oof.
At least 50%.
See, but I like that because it forces hard choices about what isn't going to be troops.
Bear in mind that troops was all infantry. So this would include your assault dudes. It would include your devastators.
Oh, okay.
Scout, tactical marines. Up to 25% of your army could be characters, if I remember correctly, and up to 50% of your army could be vehicles. So it's all done on percentages. But what this meant is it meant you didn't have somebody who took 12 tanks.
Yeah.
You know,
because they literally couldn't.
It was, because they literally couldn't. It was limitations in the name of balance. And it also meant that when you were tailoring your characters, you were like, okay, well, because back then you had war gear cards. You could give your character nearly anything. And it meant you had to be quite careful how you tooled your characters and things. And now it's just, I'll take what you want. We can only have three of up to three of the same thing.
Yeah.
You know.
How far the mighty have fallen.
It doesn't matter if you take troops. I mean, I think battle line, they call it battle line, don't they? I think they do get some bonuses, so there is a little bit of something there, but it just, as you say, that whole thing of RGW committed to making the best game they can, or are they committed to getting as many sales as they can?
Yeah.
And while I'm sure for some of the designers, the game does come into it, I think it's strongly the latter.
Yeah. I sincerely don't think they've made the best 40k they possibly could.
No.
I'm not sure that many people.
Simplified, not simple, would not have a 20-page rules commentary released on release.
No.
The day it's released, there's a 20-page rules commentary. Not an FAQ, not an errata, just a rules commentary.
Yeah. This is why we did things like this.
It's fucked up. And some of the rules are so wordily written that people just tying themselves up knots. Like, get this, for example, so they're telling me this has been FAQ'd, thankfully. When the World Eaters Codex came out, the 8-bound, so you know the 8-bound,
Vaguely.
Had the 8-bound rule, so they couldn't go in rhinos.
Okay.
The Exalted 8-bound did not have the 8-bound keyword. So rules as written, people were stuffing them into rhinos. Even though the Exalted 8-bound is the bigger, scarier, spikier version of the normal 8-bound.
Yep.
The fuck?
That's the fuck? Definite WTF there. Like, I think the problem is, like, they've lost their way when it comes to 40k, because 40k originally had its roots in like a cross between an RPG and a skirmish game.
Yes. Even up
until
second edition. Even up to second edition was pretty much an RPG skirmish game on many levels. They lost a couple of statistics, so I think it lost intelligence,
willpower, and call, and willpower. Yeah. Necromunda kept it, no.
You know, second edition obviously was a bit of a seismic change and away from the RPG, but there's still a lot of RPG elements, be it the polyhedral dice or be it the pointed war gear that was very individual to characters.
Yep.
Or the hero hammer aspect of second edition, where it was like literally you had a few characters and then just a couple of squads kind of thing. Completely unrecognizable from what we have these days.
Yeah.
And I've played every single edition of 40k, apart from 4th, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think I missed out on 3rd and 4th.
I played 3rd because I was at GW at the time. I took a break from GW after quitting working for them.
Yeah.
And that would have been a 4th edition, I think. So I think I completely missed 4th and got back in 5th.
Actually, I got back in 5th as well. I started collecting Tau, got back in 5th. Thanks to Mike.
One conversation that would be good actually is a history of 40k from my perspective, so that'd be fun.
Yes.
We'll have to put some work into that one.
I think, frankly, the further they move away from Rick Priestley's original work, the less of a fucking clue they've got as to what they're doing.
Yeah, I think Andy Chambers and Rick Priestley just nailed 40k. I
Yeah,
think Andy Chambers, I will pretty much view Andy Chambers' time at 40k
as
as the
peak.
halcyon
Peak.
years.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've
Um,
always said that with Tyranids. Like, he and Jervis Johnson came up with Tyranids way back when they were in, like, one thing in
yeah.
Rogue Trader, and maybe there was a hunter killer as well, which I think wasn't classed as a Tyranid then, but was still a thing.
Well, originally the
Um,
GC there wasn't a Tyranid organism,
nope,
was it?
nope, not at all. There's no mention of Tyranids anywhere in Space Hulk
Yeah.
or any of the early stuff.
Um,
And yeah, and
Votes were originally Tyranid emissaries.
Zotes were, yeah, Zotes were, and Squigs were part of their army list as well,
That's right. Yeah.
which is just funny. I've still got their White Dwarf army list somewhere where it's got you get Squig bases.
Yeah, I think I've
But
got a White Dwarf compendium somewhere that's got it in it.
I think they got pretty
The
much
red
they
one.
got replaced by Rippers, which I'm still okay with because I loves me some Rippers. And yeah, and right up until like what, fourth edition, which is when Andy Chambers left, they did the fourth edition codex, which was fucking great. Third and
The
fourth
third and
edition
fourth
Tyranid
edition Tyranid
codexes
codexes were amazing.
were, yeah, fantastic. They
Was
were
it the
like,
third edition where you could literally build your own Tyranid with biomorphs?
I think that was third and fourth. They were both
Okay.
pretty flexible. Fourth just had more in
As I
it.
say, I think I skipped fourth, so I can't tell you fourth.
I
But
mean,
the third
I think
edition, I remember you could
I've got them
basically
all somewhere.
you could literally build your own Tyranid.
Yeah,
And it was
and like a Carnifex was like you could do like a Swiss Army
amazing.
Carnifex, and
And
it
you
was
look at
kind
it
of like,
now. Look at it
yeah,
now.
it was like, here's my Carnifex. If I want it to be better at shooting, I can give it what was it, enhanced senses for plus
Yeah.
one BS. If I want it to be faster, I can give it the adrenal
Adrenal
glands. I can give
glands,
it toxin sacs for poison or
strength,
re-rolling wounds or whatever it was.
yeah.
If I want it to be tougher, I can give it like an extended carapace,
And the carapace, yeah.
which returned. I was very happy to see that right before they fucked everything up with 10th again. You got extended carapace, which bumps up the save by one. There was bonded exoskeleton, which I think gave it
Toughness, I think.
plus one wound, and then there
Is it all that?
was reinforced chitin, which gave it plus one toughness.
Okay.
And it's like, if I wanted an absolutely hard as nails as I can possibly get
Yeah.
Carnifex
This is it. You could,
stampeding up the board, I
yeah.
can, but I'm going to pay through the
You're going to
absolute
pay the
fucking
coin.
nose for it.
Exactly. It was the difference between having a few elites or a Matt, we've got to stop, mate. This is making me fucking sad.
Welcome to my world.
I've got to say, seriously, this is making me sad when I think about what they've done to Tyranids now.
Yeah, they were one of my favourite armies because,
And there needs
again,
to be the most.
in that white dwarf with I'm sitting there tapping it like it's a pet, like with Advanced Space Crusade, it also had a very short story in it with Inquisitor Cryptman getting hunted by a shape-shifting Tyranid that falls to the planet and hunts him down in his fortress. And
Okay.
and that was a great story as well. I mean, it was before they properly fleshed out Tyranids, so they could do whatever the fuck they liked with them, story
Yeah.
form. And it was a really good story because it basically ends like in a dark room with all the astropaths doing their nut, crawling around him because the shadow in the warps completely cut them off from something they've known from all their lives. And it's just really, really good story. Loads of people get murdered by a thing that they don't understand and don't see coming. It's just great, and it's just and they've just kind of lost their way when it came to it. Like, Andy Chambers left in fourth edition at the end of fourth, and he went to join Blizzard, which is was for StarCraft 2, which is why the Zerg suddenly got a bit biomorphy and adaptable, but it's good stuff. Um, and then Robin Cruduts picked up the 5th edition Tyranid Codex, and all of the good biomorphs and adaptability stuff got stripped out because no one knew what the fuck they were doing with them. And it was just like, you've the guy who basically invented the army and race has gone, and I literally think it took them until 8th edition, that like length of time later, to actually get back into the swing of Tyranids and having them be adaptable. Like an 8th, and I think 9th was a very good codex for them as well. Even though we didn't really get any games of 9th in, but you can
Yeah.
look at a codex and go, yeah, this is awesome. Like, I like
Yeah.
the
The
way
Night
you've done
Codex
this.
looked pretty good.
Yeah, there was a
I just
bunch of different fleets. There was a whole bunch of biomorphs and stuff. I think it was the most adaptable codex that they'd had
I
since
remember
fourth.
I
And
remember that there's something went. I think it was the Psychic Awakening. rules that apparently putted the Tyranids the wrong way at the end of 8. From what I remember correctly, that some of them just got a bit silly, and it was like they were putting army rules into an expansion, wasn't making people happy. But I
kind of skip all those books. I'm like, I don't care about the lore in them. I don't think I really paid
no,
attention to any of the rules either.
It's for me that is just the only worthwhile thing of that is just that's when you know a new edition's coming.
Yeah,
They do those books, and it's like they're wrapping up the new edition, but yeah,
which is baffling really, because then if people knew that, they wouldn't buy them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I look at 10th as it is at the moment, and it just looks like they've made it as simple and easy to play as they possibly can, without really thinking about the impact it has on the game. And yeah, it's just a shame, because
It's a shame.
this is something that you and I have been doing. Well, you've been probably doing it longer than me, to be honest. I've been doing it 27, 28 years.
Yep. Marginally longer, not by much.
It's just a long way away from what I consider to be its best.
Yeah, from what it was, from where we enjoyed it.
And I think that is a sad thing. And while I hope it can be brought back, and at the end of the day, you can always play the old edition. Nobody's stopping you. This is what I would say to anybody who's saying, if we still wanted to play 40k together, and obviously I know I'm a long way away, but if I was still back down there in Essex, I'll probably be pushing you guys to play an early game edition of 40k.
7th will do.
Yeah, seventh, and don't use formations or something.
7th is fine.
And I just, given GW's endless need to make the game more accessible and get more money out of it, I just feel like the soul gets ripped out of it every single time.
I don't think it was necessary. It's like, look, you've got Combat Patrol. If you want a simplified game to drag people in, use that. Right?
Literally make Combat Patrol a separate game.
Yep.
I mean, I hate Combat Patrol, because Combat Patrol basically says, right, you've bought this box of miniatures. Now, if you want to play Combat Patrol, you can only assemble them in one way.
Yep.
Because we've only put the rules in for one way.
But if it's its own game with its own rule set, it doesn't really matter too much. And then you can use them as the basis for getting more stuff.
I don't know.
We do know. We just get tired of talking about it.
Yeah, it's hard to see something you loved be
get pooped,
treated in that way. In all honesty,
if I was feeling entitled, I'd say misappropriated.
Yeah,
but I think that's a bit of a dickish term. Like, it's not my game that's been taken away. It's just it's their game, and they've taken it in a direction that we don't like.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's kind of like how I feel about things like Star Trek, for example.
Yeah.
Where I feel Star Trek is so far removed from what it was, and the Star Trek that I grew up with, and the Star Trek that I watched with my dad, and the messages and the ethos that Star Trek had, as opposed to what it represents now.
Pew pew, flashy flashy.
Exactly. You can't help but look at it with a certain amount of resentment, and I feel the same with 40k.
Yeah, I mean, especially with 40k, because
it's worth 40k because I've got all these fucking models.
Yeah, exactly.
And the models are still really nice that they release.
Yep.
It's just the game's kind of crap.
Yeah.
And that's me being diplomatic.
Yeah. I mean, people will say, "Oh, you can play old editions," and it's like, yeah, we can, but not with the newer stuff because it doesn't have rules.
Yeah. And I suppose you could always proxy and stuff like that. And I think there's too many units in the game now anyway. Period. I think it's happened with the Tyranids. Like the second edition Tyranid Codex had 12 options. 12.
I'm not even sure it was that many.
It's now got like 40 odd.
Third really didn't have that many in it.
Second, you've got Hive Tyrant.
I'm actually going to have a look. Hold on.
Patriarch, Gene Stealers, Termagants, Hormagants, Tyranid Warriors, Carnifex, Biovore, Spore Mines are a separate unit. That's 9. Lictor, 10. Maybe it was 10.
The contents for third edition doesn't help because it's all split out into the FOC chart.
Yeah, no. Second edition would have just
Too
the actual
complicated.
individual units.
Yeah, so third edition had
the Patriarch was in there, so that's 11.
probably. So third edition had Hive Tyrant, Tyrant Guard. Hold on.
They didn't exist in second.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch that didn't in it. They got new metal models. They got Lictors, Warriors, Gene Stealers, Termagants, Rippers, Hormagaunts, Raveners, Gargoyles.
Raveners were new. Gargoyles. So
Carnifex.
About the Patriarch.
Carnifex, Zoanthropes, Biovores.
Oh man. And
that's it.
Okay. So Raveners and Tyrant Guard were new.
Yep.
The old one would have had 12 or 13 units. I forgot to include Gargoyles and Rippers.
Okay, so I'm having a gander at the second edition book now. Well, I'm looking at the contents. I won't go through it all because I'm not.
Yeah, you just need to look at the contents. This back when it had the best three contents.
But yeah, it's like a Hive Tyrant, Carnifex, Warriors, Lictors, Zoanthropes, Termagant, Ripper Swarms, Gargoyles, Hormagaunts, Biovores, Spore Mines, Gene Stealers, and then underneath Gene Stealers, it's got a Patriarch, Magus, and Hybrids and Brood Brothers.
Right. Okay. So there was a sub Gene Stealer Culture Codex, so we won't include that stuff. So there's 12. There's 12 Tyranid units.
There you go. And then there's a whole load of pages on the weapons, which is just like, nice.
Those were the days. Back when you had a separate War Gear book in 40k.
Yeah. Biomorphs, Acid Blood. There's even stuff here that I've not seen before. Like,
look at the
for a long time. Acid Blood, Adrenaline Sacs, Aura of Torment.
Look at the Tyranid event table. So basically, in second edition, you rolled a dice and added your strategy rating to see where it goes first. Yeah. Tyranids only had a strategy rating of 1, but which also meant that they didn't use any strategy cards. But what they did have was a strategy events table. So you roll once for each unit in your opponent's army to see what had happened to it. It might be delayed.
Squad event table.
It might be, yes, an event table. So go look for that.
I've got it. There it is.
Jones is actually strangely was my favourite.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, roll a d6. 1 to 3, no effect. I'm doing it from the bottom up. 4, battle fatigue. The squad counts all Tyranids as causing fear, and those normally cause fear cause terror instead. all the young people are going, what's that?
Yeah, psychology was the best.
This special event will not affect a vehicle squadron's normal immunity to psychology. Number 5 is Jones is acting strangely. Roll a d6. At the start of each Tyranid turn, and on a roll of a 6, randomly select a model from the squad. If the model is still alive, it is instantly killed by a barbed strangler. See the Tyranid bioweapons section for full rules. And then number 6 was they're all around us. The squad is not deployed at the start of the game. Instead, it moves on from the edge of the table in the player's deployment zone at the start of turn 2. Roll a d6. On a 4 or more, a randomly chosen member of the squad disappears without trace before the start of the game.
The barbed strangler was basically a large template.
Yes.
So what you did is you got a large template, put it over the poor unfortunate, and everybody else got attacked by the barbed strangler. It's like a seed pod that explodes.
Yeah, as it bursts out.
Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. If I remember correctly. So you couldn't blow it up, but I don't think. But you rolled on damage table and applied that for vehicles.
See what had gone horribly wrong on its way in.
Yeah.
That's
I
great.
think the idea was it had basically been corroded by spore mine acid or something.
No, check that out. Short and long range to hit. Short range 1 to 18. Long range to hit.
There was rules for fast moving targets.
Yeah.
So if something moved over 10 inches, I think it was a -1 to hit it. -1 to hit it if it was using from emerging from cover or going into cover.
Armor pen, d6 plus 4.
Yeah.
Special, move or fire. 3-inch blast marker, see above.
Damage tables?
Yeah. I remember having. I've still got my vehicle and battle manuals downstairs.
Yeah, I've still got my copy of Dark Millennium downstairs.
Second edition, where you actually got a drawing of the vehicle, like a cutaway section, and you had the plastic targeting thing that you put over it, and then had to roll to see if it scattered and hit a different bit of the vehicle.
I remember the FUD gun template that was used for the Hive Tyrant's venom cannon.
Yeah. I've still got my old squad FUD gun, and I remember cutting out the 4 like small blasts with like with the little tongue bit on them, and you had to use split pins. If anyone remembers those, split pins to pin them all together in like a 4 little blast chain, and then you could put one down. you scattered it, and then you put the other 4 blasts around it, each one attached to the previous one. It was great.
I remember one game of second edition I played. I used my Tyranids, and my mate used my Ultramarines, and one spore mine took out 2 bikes, a Predator, a Tech Marine, and put a wound on minus Colgar.
Was it like a chain reaction sort of thing?
Reaction, yeah. So I think it hit the Predator, destroyed the tracks on the Predator, so the Predator flipped over and squashed the Tech Marine, if I remember correctly. No, I think the bikes, because when the spore mines went up, there was a little template, I think it was.
Okay.
Maybe a 2-inch or a 3-inch template. And I'm pretty sure the bikes got hit. So one of them crashed into another bike and then that crashed off. It's fucking ridiculous. 10-point spore mine and it destroyed I don't know, 250 points worth of stuff. Absolutely crazy. But stuff like that happened back in second edition.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that happened back in sixth. Stuff like that happened back in sixth. I still remember that game that we played with David the Worcer and Tim the Unfielder, where we had that game, and the Warp Storm table just wreaked havoc across the entire board for the whole game. It was amazing. It was fantastic.
Oh man, where's that stuff in 40k now? Is it even still there?
No,
I don't know if it is.
No, I don't think so.
I know that the Chaos Marines have got something similar. They can do a dark pact, and you take a leadership test, and if you fail it, you get D3 mortal wounds or 3 mortal wounds. But I'm sorry, that's just fucking boring.
Yep.
It's not the same as a demon comes out of the warp and rips off your face or turns you into Herald, which I think is what happened to
It's exactly what happened to my Spirit Seer.
Your Spirit Seer.
Yep. Yeah, it was like pick an enemy psyker on the board, and it's like, well, the only one. And he got turned into a Herald, who then finished off my Wraithblade squad.
Yeah,
I think that he was attached to. And then the next turn, we rolled on the Warp Storm table again, and it was like, oh, now he gets sucked back into the warp, and he's gone. And I was like, oh, played a Warlord for you then. But it was funny. It was absolutely great.
But those are the random events that, it happens. You're like, oh my god! But I don't know. That was fun, man. That was a fun game.
It's called Chaos for a reason.
And I remember Tim's last man standing, Dark Angel standing on top of the Bastion, where he got swarmed by
Plague Bearers.
Plague Bearers, I think it was. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think your whirlwind scattered and took out a whole bunch of Dave's Plague Bearers as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was quite funny.
Even though he was on my side.
yeah, exactly. A bit of friendly fire. Your Storm Talon came on, fired its assault cannons and whatever else it had. And my Wave Serpent didn't even scratch the paint. And then our only model with a Skyfire weapon, which was like Tim's tactical missile launcher guy, fired, hit it, blew it up, and it was amazing. It was like came on, did nothing, died.
That's because I fielded it unpainted. That's why.
That's it. It just didn't deserve to live. Yeah, no. And my striking Scorpions spent the entire game running up the flank away from that great unclean one that deep struck in. It just chased them up, rolled up my entire flank right along the long table edge. Ridiculous. Like Tim deep struck in his, well, technically my Terminators, but he was using them. He dropped in 5-man Terminator squad to stop it, and it just bumped them. It just bumped straight over them all, killed them all, and it kept going. And my striking Scorpions desperately charged into the Plague Bearers, who were just merrily chopping up the last of his Marines on the table, and I charged in to try and make a difference. They did fuck all, and then the Great Unclean One caught up, and everyone just died in that big messy melee.
My strike didn't go the way I thought it would either.
No, was that your Terminators with the Chaplain?
Chaplain Terminators, yeah.
Yeah, and they came in and they.
The Terminators just bounced off.
I think you charged my Wraith Lord, and it just about survived miraculously, and then my Wraith Blades countercharged all your Terminators.
Yeah. Which was Chaplain left. I remember that.
Yeah, which was mad. And
then normally that was normally clutch back in the day.
Yeah. That was the go-to unit. That was expensive and killing. And then your sniper scouts that my Wraith Lord was about to wrist flamer finished him off.
Yeah.
And killed my Wraith Lord, and then my Wraith Blades were still there with my Spirit Seer, which was
great back in that day because there was the go to ground rule.
Yeah.
And scouts already had a 3+ invulnerable, I think, or a 3+ save.
Cover save, yeah.
Sorry, cover save. That was it. And if you went to ground, you
I
got
think it was for Shrouded. They got a +2. For Shrouded,
yeah.
they got a +2 to cover saves. Then go
You
to
just put
ground
them
as
in an
well.
objective, go to ground, and it's just like
So they got a decent cover save, but they couldn't fire.
no. They couldn't fire, but didn't care. Like 4 sniper rifles and
No.
missile launchers.
So yeah, so that was
We're
that
taking
was
out
good.
your Wraith Lord.
Yeah, they finished him off with a rend. I think it was a rending hit.
And then the dreadnought just battled its way through a building, killed a load of stuff. I remember that.
Oh, that's right. And didn't Tim have a dreadnought as well? It was like our only dreadnought, and he charged it into a bunch of plague bearers, and I was like,
It got melted.
and he charged it in, and I was like, dude, they have touch of rust, and he was like, what's that? And I'm like, it wounds anything on 6s, like vehicles. Your fancy AV on the front of your dreadnought ain't gonna do shit. And it
No
just got
difference.
smashed to fucking a single round of
Yeah.
combat, and I was just like, ah.
Vaguely, I remember from him was just him being stuck in that bastion building, and so I've got pictures from this somewhere. I have to try and put them in.
Oh man,
They'll be on the Conclave of Har blog because we did a battle report for it.
oh nice. Yeah, we definitely need that. Okay, there must be stuff that we're missing.
I'll have to try and assuming the blog's even still running.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Cool. I've touched this for fucking years. 2013 I started this. It's 10 years old. Wow. When would this game have been, Matt? 2015?
Probably. I think it might have been like the second time that I went around Dave's place because
Yeah, I
I
only
just
went
met
on
him.
Bailey's a few times. It's all book reviews.
Yeah. I've just scooched through the 8th edition Demons Codex. There's no Warp Storm table in it.
I remember being in the summer.
Yes.
2014. Riveting content for our 144 subscribers now, I think. Doing all right.
Nice. Thanks, everyone.
I need to go back and comment on some comments, replies to some comments. That's it, because I've been practically fucking off dead recently. But I was sure it was 6th edition, that game.
Yeah.
Wow. David did a guest review of the Sisters of Battle Codex. That was the first time I ever met Bailey.
Nice.
Playing at the Wargaming Club in Hockley.
Yep.
And I went up against his Space Marines with his Sisters of Battle with my with my Emperor's Blades.
Oh, your Troll Blades.
Yeah, and the main thing I remember from that game is my veteran sergeant chasing after his what's the Sisters of Battle tank? Exorcist
back then, yeah.
With a melter bomb, and he just kept reversing it away, and I was just like, come back!
To be fair, one of my games against Bailey kind of went similar to that. In that I was playing Tau, so I think this must have been 6th because we'd just gotten our new codex, I think. Yes, because broadsides kind of took a bit of a downgrade and went from having railguns to rail rifles, which were weaker. And I didn't have much stuff left, and he was trundling a Lehman Russ up the table towards me, and all my rail rifles were just pinging off the front, like my heavy rail rifle from my broadside was like ping, 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 and I was like, I could glance it if I got like a 5 or a 6, I think, and it was just not happening at all. And it was just like ping, 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 and I dropped in my unit of stealth suits behind it because they had a fusion blaster, and they just scattered off the table. He was running up a table edge, and I was like, I'm gonna fuck you up now, and from behind like a wrong, and then it was just like, pull up, you ain't doing shit, and it was like, oh mate.
Holy shit! You did a guest review for me as well.
Jesus, what did I do?
Space Hulk, the PC game.
Ah, nice. Not Deathwing.
No, not Deathwing.
It's probably before that.
Way before that.
Yeah.
Is there no search function in this? I could be all fucking day.
Yeah, to GW's credit, the 9th edition Chaos Demons Codex had a Warp Storm effects in it.
Yeah, I just
So
it's
it
just these
wasn't
little
a bunch of random stuff.
yeah.
But I think it was stuff that the Demons player could pick from a bunch of tables using Warp Storm points.
It's just these little bits of flavour that are sorely lacking, in my opinion, these
Yeah,
days. What with the prevalence of mortal wounds, which I just hate as a mechanic.
the lazy mechanic.
It's yeah, it's really really lazy, and I just I don't know. I just
AOS has a lot to answer for. Like, like
yes, and
just keep your simplified game over there. And if people want to get into Games Workshop stuff, they can play AOS, and then they can, when they
yeah.
get used to that, then they can get to a more complicated game like 40k. It doesn't have to be the same as AOS. Unfortunately, now it kind of is.
Okay, so this is the review for set. So I've got the review for 7th edition here. This
Mm.
game was 6th, wasn't it? So it's been going for 10 years now. Space Hulk PC guest review by Matt Clark. So it looks like you also helped me out with the 7th edition review.
Yeah, I think I might have done. Oh man, the 6th edition Tau Codex. It was so good. Didn't have a codex for 2 editions, and then got that one. That was great. That was really odd using like a 4th edition codex when I got back into the game for 5th, and I'm sitting there going, "What the fuck's a target priority test?" Not even in the core rules anymore. Uh, Markelites did Markelites did so much good stuff. So
Yeah,
they
like
got
each edition you got like 1, maybe 2 new units, and that's enough.
yeah. Tau did good. Pathfinders. Crisis teams, broadside teams. The Crisis and broadsides both got new kits. So the Crisis kit was pretty much there's still Crisis suits, but all the panels got smoothed off,
Yeah, it was
and
better.
they
It was
looked
a
they
lot
looked
better.
much nicer. To this day, I'm still not overly pleased with the redesign of the broadside. I don't really like it, but still kind of looks cool. Stealth teams were pretty much the same. The Riptide was a new unit then, and I did and didn't like it because to me, like overall, the Tau stuff was so well designed and logically put together
Yeah, back
that
then they were smart and they like everything can go out of a drop ship and
Andy Chambers
yeah,
is why
yeah, they
I
actually put
think.
some thought into it and didn't just go, oh,
Yeah,
giant mix.
and everything could fit either into an Orca, if you remember those, or a Manta dropship, and anything that couldn't was either anti-grav or had a jetpack, so that it could still, you know, get off the battlefield and get back to where it needed to be to
Right.
rejoin the rest of the force. And you know what? Riptides came out, and I was like, I'm okay with that because they've still got jetpacks. So if you need that to do a rapid egress out off the battlefield, then I'm sure they've got a way of just going all power to the jetpack, straight up in
Yeah.
the air, straight up in the air. Get into to low orbit or whatever, and get picked up by something bigger than a manta. Sniper drone teams are pretty much the same. Piranhas were the same. The Sun Shark and Razor Shark aircraft got introduced, whereas the designs were mostly shit, and I've no idea what they were thinking because they already had like the Tiger Shark and the Barracuda set in an example from Forge World, and they are amazing designs, and they still hold up now. They're great. A nice delta wing design is awesome. And then for these, they just kind of went big wide wing, and then weird little bits that trail back to a tail, and it's like, what have
Mm.
you done? There were some nice touches, like I liked the way some of the weapons were underslung underneath the aircraft, and I especially liked the way that each one had 2 Seeker missiles, which actually were in little flaps that folded up out of the wings. That was really nice touch. That was really good. But on the whole, with those two, I was a bit like, I like the bomber, but it's just such a weird design that you've gone for with these units. They don't look like devilfish, they don't look like flyers. I don't know what you've done. It's just a bit weird. It's like you've taken a piranha and just bummed it. It's terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've just realised where this game report it's on the website that doesn't exist anymore.
Ah,
That
curses.
sucks. Because it's
It
also
might
where it's also where the interview with Andy Chambers is.
it might be on the way back engine, maybe.
Oh,
I
would
think
that
that's
work if you just no
I,
longer have the domain?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I think it takes. I think it took snapshots of existing websites and saved them. It might be worth a long. It's a long shot, but it might work.
How'd you do that then? Just a URL and then Wayback Engine?
I think so. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, you had pinpoint for bumping up ballistic skill, scale for removing points of cover save, and then seeker missiles, which was all good. And I think previous to that, there was also target priority tests and other stuff, which was quite good. And then unfortunately, they've just simplified marker lights with each edition that followed. And so I think 7th was a bit of a shitter for Tal for me because they basically changed Kroot from their classic skirmish screen into snipers, and they were like they've lost their extra attack and I think a point of strength maybe for melee, and now they've just got sniper rounds instead, and it was just like, oh, thanks for that. I really wanted more snipers in a shooting army. Well done. They introduced the Storm Surge, which is just a shit unit. It looks so crap.
It looks like Wayback Engine has captured something, but I don't know what.
Oh, it's promising.
Can't access it. Every time I try and click on something, it just doesn't bring anything up.
No. I'll have a look later on.
Yeah.
For it. Yeah, there's all
It's
the
still there.
formation. There's all the formations. Anyway, man, should we wrap this up now?
Yeah, so I've spent the last. I've got on the
You've gone down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, my own rabbit hole.
Yep.
Well, I found the website. Even though it doesn't exist anymore, the Wayback Machine does seem to have captured a shitload of stuff.
Good.
But I'm not sure whether or not it's captured what we want. But this is
Oh,
amazing. This is a load of material that I wrote so long ago that I've just completely forgotten about, dude.
Save it quick. Save the pages as HTML. Oh yeah, that was another thing they got 7th edition. They got breaches and ghost kills as well. The ghost kill, I love the unit. The shittest name ever. The ghost kill. It's the bottom of a ship. I don't know. I think you're taking the sea metaphors a bit too far.
They're all named after fishes and shit. And I was like,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people seem to overlook that most Xenos codexes are written from an Imperial perspective.
Yeah.
So it's the Imperial designation for all the Tau stuff. Like, they don't sit there and go, "Oh, my devilfish," but they don't know what a fucking devilfish is. They've never been to Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think
there's a lot of that though, isn't there? I mean,
yeah, but I think it translates over into books and computer games and stuff where you have the Tau using those terms just so the reader knows what the fuck they're talking about without having to do a whole bunch of exposition renaming everything. But yeah, and the other thing was that they kind of dropped by the wayside was that the Tau numbers the Tau number system was an octet based system. It works on 0 to 8 because they don't have 10 fingers. Which is why before the Riptide turned up, all of their stuff went up to 8, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like a broadside was an XV88 because it was the largest suit that they had at the time. And then they went, oh, a Riptide, eh? We'll make that a 104. And I was like, how have you done that? They don't even know what a 10 is. Like,
Matthew, your models are in a horribly unpainted state in this game. Shocking.
Dare you even say so?
I'm looking at your Wraith Blades now. Only got one colour on them. Not based.
Well, they've got paint on them now. What colour was it? Grey? Orange?
Orange.
Orange.
Uncoated white, orange.
Yep.
Your Sweeping Hawks are just white. So just primed.
To be fair, they still are. I don't think I've used them again.
Oh man, Wayback Machine. Thank you very much.
No props.
Yeah, I will. I say just save all this stuff. Awesome. Well, this is a proper blast from the past.
No sleep for you.
No, definitely sleep for me. My voice is going as well.
Speaking of which, I have to start working in 6 hours and 40 minutes.
Is that all? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, let us wrap it up there. I've got plenty of editing to do because, man, did we go off on a tangent and ramble.
To be fair, I don't think we didn't really plan a great deal for this one, so that kind of left it open for a bit of ramble abuse.
Yeah, exactly. And depending on what GW do over the next few weeks, there might not be much to talk about there either. So I'll pick one of our subjects and go forth with that.
Yeah.
Asking people to vote may have been a little bit naive. I don't know if people get this far in the video or just get fed up with us. So I'll let you know which one it'll be, and you can do some homework for it, and we'll tackle it properly.
You can always offer. If people don't do it, it's up to them.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
give them the choice.
We've got a small amount of subscribers and not a massive amount of views and stuff. The last 2 videos did all right. So, you know, I'm not expecting, it's not like I'm expecting mass interaction and stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's really weird. This Wayback Machine is this the way it works? Has it captured the entire website? Because I can click on things and it goes through to those links.
I think so, yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Because it was my page, and it was like 80 quid for the first year, 90 quid for the second year, 120 quid for the third year. And then they wanted then they turned around and said like 400 quid. I was like, no. Time to let this website go.
That's bonkers even now.
So yes, thank you very much to all of our subscribers and listeners and staff. Like and share and subscribe, especially to sharing. If you think you've got people that would enjoy this content and enjoy 2 mad English blokes rambling and raving about stuff, then by all means, share. Well, yeah, you know, and the good old days, the halcyon days.
Yeah.
And then yes, please share the content, and more the merrier. So we will see you soon. I will say goodbye. I'm going to spend most of tomorrow looking over my old website that hasn't existed for like 8 years.
Save it.
Yes, I shall do. Right, so we'll catch you guys later then.
Yep, cheerio. Thanks for your time.